Right. I like to freeze and let everything explode kind of situation. I wanted to go into my build what I play at the moment, which is an ice shot build, and I call it ice shot machine gun. So it really is nice in terms of clearing speed and maps. You got a lot of arrows flying around, including everything. Same with bosses. There's a lot of potential also going up still. But I wanted to go into my status quo, how the build is at the moment. I just switched to CI. I will also go later on in terms of how you level, what's best, and so on. But first of all, I want to go into equipment and what you kind of like need. So at the moment, when I switched, it's more like a low budget version. What does it mean? Like in hardcore, playing hardcore, so I paid like 10 to 15 divine. With that investment, I got everything we got here. So we switched as we go to CI into another bow, which is the Lion's Eye Glare. It does, on paper, less physical damage, just in terms of numbers. But why we use it, it's just because of the barrageable attacks. With this bow, repeat 2 times if no enemies are in your presence, right? Presence, what does it mean? Like 4-meter radius. When you see, that is also you see now on the screen. When I go over it with the mouse, that's your presence, right? As soon as you are out of there, especially at the boss, right? You are not cuddling with the boss. All your tornado shot, ice shot, everything what we do is repeated 2 times. Tornado shot is not that important, but the important part is that ice shot repeats. So just also to show you guys, we narrow down in tornado shot, right? We have one, and then we just shoot. Well, it doesn't. Oh, okay, so we narrow down in tornado shot, and then we just shoot, right? So, and you see there's like, it's really fast, but it's like 3 times in ice shot. So, what else do we have? That is a quiver. The quiver gives us different arrows. So we have a Cresco, which change 6 additional times and deal increased damage for each time they chain. So that is already good for clearing. Then we have also splintering arrows, which split towards target 6 times. We have reversing arrows, which pierce all targets and return to us. Then we can also have a diamond arrow, which are critical hits with increased critical damage. We have enemies, Coventus arrows, so enemies killed with Coventus arrows drop items, increased rarity. And we have blunt arrows, which cause increased stun buildup. So everything which, like each arrow we fire, is these all above, right? So which is really great. I got an 8% at the moment. You see it goes to 10 at attack speed, but it's kind of like a small percentage, which is extremely high in price. So if you can catch like just like a 7 or 8%, it's already good to try this out as soon as you can grab one. I corrupted it and I got lucky in my first corruption and got the skill speed, so definitely try that out if you get your hands on a non-corrupt one and just corrupt it. Then as we are CI, we completely go into energy shield, right? Means we have a helmet, with increased energy shield, as we don't need maximum life anymore on any of our gear. So maximum mana is always nice, intelligence is nice, and of course resistance. Which resistance we don't need is chaos resistance, because when we go CI and full energy shield, we are chaos and bleeding immune. So just keep that eye out that you don't need that resistance anymore. So what really is great, maximum energy shield on all of equipments, increased energy shield, and when you get your hands on an item with then the third prefix, which is here not maximum mana, that would be then plus energy shield and increased together as a mix, right? That is kind of like really high budget, but when you drop some, as an example, with high tiers, that's awesome, right? But at the moment, we have now Helmet with 400 energy shield, which is already great. To that gear, also said that when we go into energy shield, the higher the gear levels, the better is this, just the amount of energy shield they have, like as a white version, right? As a normal version. So when you switch to energy shield, just a note also, do that mid level 80. So just to get, as an example, this helmet is level 80. So everything above 80 would be my recommendation. So here our body armor, same maximum energy shield, increased energy shield, which is also really nice is the mana regeneration rate here. And also the hits against you have reduced, where is it here? Reduced critical damage bonus, which is a really great plus in terms of defense for us. Yeah, we have poison, reduced poison duration on it. We don't need it because we can't get poison, because poison is also chaos damage. But that came like it is, and I bought it because it was still, I think, the highest gear we bought in terms of value. I think it was 5 divine I paid for it, but it was worth it. As you see, like with 960 energy shield, you can go to 1.1k-ish when you really get a good roll, but this is already good. It's a level 60 still, but as you can see, we have like a tier 1 increased energy shield, a tier 1 maximum energy shield, and we got a tier 1 maximum energy shield and increased energy shield. That is the mix I told you guys. So always look into, before you buy also, press Alt and see what kind of like tier, right, it is. This is always important to get an item which has also higher tiers. So tier 1 is, as an example, the best, and then we have like tier 6, which is kind of like really low. Then again, energy shield on the gloves. Here, flat damage is really important, so physical, as an ice shot converts physical to ice. So the more flat physical we got, the more ice we get. Ice damage is also nice to get, which would be preferable here is also attack speed. But as again, we are still on a lower budget. If you find one, great. When not, it's not that bad, right? I got also plus intelligence on it, because for us as a ranger to go to intelligence is also a bit hard in the beginning. So when you get intelligence on it, it also gives you mana, so that's not a bad option to do. Yeah, fire and cold resistance, and yeah, we have almost 100% increased energy shield, so again a tier 1, which is really great. Boots, as always in this game, movement speed, right? So increased movement speed, really important to have it on. So that means also we can't have the 3 times energy shield here, just the 2. But again, here I got increased energy shield, intelligence, and some resistance. Increased energy recharge rate is also nice. But always remember that recharge rate is just the rate when it starts, right, and how fast it is. And then there's also an energy start, right? So that's always 2 different points. You can also have that here on the body armor as an example. Faster start of energy shield. Really great, but also hard to find. But when you have something like this, that is also a good base to craft on, especially when you have like higher item levels later on. The belt, it's just with resistance, some maximum mana, a bit of ammo, so that's kind of like not that important, to be honest, later on, which is a great upgrade as example Headhunter, right? But when you switch, see if you can buy your equipment without the belt needing resistance on it. So what I put in here is mana regeneration rate. That is not a normal craft which just can be on a belt. You need to use your Abyss crafting for that to get the mana regeneration rate on it. And that is why I thought like that would be great to have a bit more mana reg, because we are losing a lot of mana, or we need some mana, and that's always helpful, right? And maximum mana, of course, is also nice. Increased flask, mana recovery rate, the same. What we don't need is kind of like life recovery on all of our equipment, right? Maximum life we don't need because we just have one life, so we can't really get more. Same with the flask, right? Life flask, recovery rate. We don't need that. Then we go to the jewelry. So we have 2 rings. I got flat physical again on it. Increased cold damage is really nice. Yeah, maximum mana, of course. Something that like that is really nice. And resistance, right? Same for this. We got flat physical, increased cold, some dex, and then some resistance. With the amulet, that is a bit different. So here I just bought it as a magic version, so a blue version, and crafted that up. So what I did here is also an abyss crafting on it, which is again something which you can't get normally on it, which is increased energy shield from equipped body armor. 40% is kind of like still low, and we can get to up to 50. Starts from 35, so we are kind of like in the lower mid, but still not a bad one. So here you want to have maximum energy shield on it, but the most important part is the increased energy shield in total, right? We got unlucky and got the increased evasion rating on it. But it's crafting, right? It's still some luck. So overall, it's nice because we have the 2 level of all projectiles, which gives us also more damage boost. And we got also 1 resistance on it, which we have been lacking. For our life flask, we don't need the life flask, right? We use the blood of the warrior because when we activate it, we get rage. What does rage do? Rage gives us more attack damage per 1 rage. So 1% attack damage per 1 rage. So we gain, here it's like 3 to 5. We got the 5 roll. So when we hit an enemy doing this effect, we get a rage. Rage buff, which is really great. So we have just pure attack damage more, which gives us just more damage buff. And then the mana flask. I have reduced charges use, recover if more recovery if it's low life. The just most important part, guys, is that when you use a flask, please don't kill yourself. When you use a mana flask, remove 15% of mana recovered from life when used, because then 50% what you want to recover will be used from your life, and that is more than 1 life. So you will die instantly. It doesn't matter how much energy shield you have, you will die. So please be careful with that when you still have it on and you switch to CI. Please make sure. Like double check, please, or triple check. Then just our charms. That depends a bit, to be honest, what you really prefer. I really like the Nascent Hope, because when we got frozen, we directly gain a recharge, right, from our energy shield. That's nice. it's also not that expensive, and I use it also before I completely go to CI. Stunned, yeah, of course. When you get stunned, it's never good, so I just use that, and some rarity when we kill a rare or unique enemy. But that is kind of like a bit preference what you guys like, to be honest. But always look into like something which is a bit also going into defense, especially when you, as I, play hardcore. So that's kind of like our equipment, right? So completely going on to energy shield as soon as you go CI. Before that, I go later also into it. I switched to, or not, I switched before I switched CI. I was energy shield and evasion rating. Then we go into our support gems and what do we have. So as we are a ranger, we skilled the Mirage Deadeye, which is a copy of ourselves. So he gets also an eye shot. Elemental armaments, longer duration, and a faster cooldown recovery, right? So he's like our shadow is almost all the time there. It's like a small cooldown where he's not there, but after that he just shoots again. And then we have also from our ascendancy called shots, which applied a mark directly every 5 seconds to an enemy within our 10 meters, which is really great because that is kind of like quality of life, right? You need just to push, not like a one button less. What we use as a mark is a freezing mark, which got mark of siphoning. I know you have leech mana equal, and we have also leech life equal. The life equal we can't use anymore as we switched to CI, but there's also a good belt you can use, but so your life leech gets also over as energy shield, which is, I don't have the corrupt version of it, but that is, 1 second here, that's a soul theta. So instead of the lose 5% of maximum energy shield here, that needs to be gone, and then excess life recovery leech is applied to energy shield, but to that you also need to skill the life leech, so you need to anoint it. So that is a nice add-on. I'm not like it. I just use it here for just the mana leech, but you can do the version 2. Then we have the charge mark. Supported mark triggers charge mark when they're activated. Charge mark gives us shock ground. So as soon as we trigger that mark, we got where the enemy is marked, as an example the boss, gets also shocked and stands in shock ground, which is really great. And then we have mark for death. Enemies marked get also armor broken equal to our physical damage take. We do. So this is really great because our eye shot does convert 80% and not 100%, right? So we still do physical damage. Then speaking of our eye shot, of course, that is our main attack. At the moment it's level 19 still, on gem level. Still need to buy like an upgrade with level 20, but it's kind of like expensive, so as I said, it's still a low budget version. Elemental armaments, we have Ice Bite, right? So we gain damage as cold for 6 seconds when we freeze an enemy with Ice Shot, which we like always do. So which is really great. Rapid attacks, just attack speed. Colded human, so we gain damage as extra cold damage from that supported attack, which is really great. So when we, as I said, also flat physical, flat cold is nice. When we have flat fire and lightning, we just get less from that, right? Because also of the cold of human. Just keep that in mind. Which is really great is also the extra, because there's a more, right? Or like increased, which means like you get more. But an extra is like on it as an extra plus, right? Which is really great, and that means extremely more damage upgrade when it would just be like an increased damage. And of course, plus level of our cold skill gives us also an upgrade in terms of damage. At the moment I still have mana remnants. What they do, they come when I kill an enemy, there comes small remnants on the ground, which I pick up and I recover mana on that. With that we have remnant potency 3 and we have harmonic remnants 2 in it. And this is a nice add-on. It's not a must, but for me I really like it because Catalyst Rejunction gives us cooldown recovery rate per stack, which is really great, which means also everything regarding our cooldowns, Mirage, Deadeye, later on also when I go into the ice tips, everything, the cooldown is a bit down, which is really great. Then of course our Herald of Ice with elemental armaments, elemental focus, magnified area, cold penetration, so Herald of Ice penetrates cold resistance on enemies, and long shot because it makes more attack damage the further it is from us. Freezing salvo, I still have it on. I mostly use it just to when I still need to freeze a boss. I rarely use it, but I still have it on. So it's not a must to use it. Just going also quickly here through elemental armaments. We have a freeze just to get the freeze build up better. Ice bite and concentrated area because that is kind of like more used for a boss to freeze him up. But with our change now with the lion's eye bow, we kind of like almost don't need it anymore. The ice tipped arrow, that is as an example something which is really great when we get the cooldown down. That we put always on before we do the ice shot. That gives us some ice shards lying on the ground and they explode. So there is just like short fuse 1 or 2. I for myself like it personally the short fuse 1, which is 40% less than detonation time. You can also use short fuse 2, that is 80% less, but it also is then less damage. So for me to have that, I use this more also in terms of clear. That means when I, as an example in a ritual, and I put it on, they lay a bit longer on the ground, so when the next wave comes, it detonates. So for me personally, I like it, but it's a bit also your guys' playstyle, so you both is totally fine to use. Elemental armaments again, cold mastery to get a level plus, and a cold attunement to get the extra cold damage. Then we have the tornado shot. This gives us a duplicate with ice shot. So we have overabundance, which means we can have 2 tornado shots, durability. So by supported skill can be hit twice the times, because otherwise it would be less duration for that ice shot because we use so many arrows. Prologue duration, and then we have leech physical attack damage from supported skill as mana. As again, we don't do 100% ice damage, right? We have still the 20% which is not converted, and that gives us also good mana regeneration rate. Then we have barrage. Barrage we use before we use the ice shot. It repeats 2 times, so it's that what we have on our bow already. But here it's the negative part, or not negative, but it repeats deal 50% less damage, right? And that we don't have on a bow, but we still can use it as an extra again. And then we have cooldown recovery, efficiency, so it's less mana cost, and rapid casting to cast it faster. Then our defense is convalescence. Convalescence is a skill you use when your energy shield gets low, and when you just click it, it directly starts to recharge. So that's why we have second wind here, have twice as many cooldown users, supported skill, cooldown recovery, right, is down, prologue duration here, just to have, again, longer skill effect and means longer recharge rate, and the cast speed, just to have it a faster cast. And for bosses, we use elemental weakness. On top of it, I like to have it as a cursed ground, especially as we freeze, and he stands still anyhow, right? So we put it there where the boss starts. So before he activates, most you have time, right? When it activates the boss, I put it in the middle, and then I just freeze him, and he just stands there. Magnified area to make it bigger. Iron curse for an increased magnitude, of course, and really important, the efficiency, because otherwise it costs a ton of mana. So overall, with the that is our curse then, right? So when we are the boss, just let it stand here, freeze, and we can just shoot away. So that is kind of like the gear later on. I got also a link for my Mobalytics, where you have a leveling guide. I leveled with lightning arrow until Act 3. Then the ice shot comes available, right? So before that, you use a lightning arrow, which is great because it's also elemental. So it doesn't need us much of a switch in terms of our passive skill tree. And I just started with 32 directly with ice shot, played it through campaign, played in maps, played a crit based and a different, not CI directly, as I said, that was life and energy shield, which was around 2k life, 1.5k energy shield, so it's a hybrid. It was really great to play, but from my opinion, like the CI is, especially in hardcore, a good defense layer, and then they switch from critical chance to just flat physical. That is also how you switch then to CI. And here I used Path of Building. Path of Building is really great to use, especially when you want to do something like, I want to switch to CI, but how does it look like? Do I have, with the equipment I have now, enough energy shield, right? And we normally wouldn't know that until we really do it. So here comes Path of Building in place. What I do is I use my items. So always recommend, do your like a stash tab, right? I put a switch here and bought all my items, which you see here. I put it in the box. And what you can do is you do Control and C on the item. Then we go into Path of Building and we put it in here. Control and V. And now we have it in. And this is like where I put like add to build, right? We have it here already. We put it again in. And then you put all your equipment, what you have in here. And then you see, okay, with that and the tree you wanted to skill, right? You have 10.5k energy shield. And that is a really good start. So normally I would recommend to have at least like around 8k energy shield. That's a really good start already to go. And then you see also, okay, I have now my boots, I have my gloves and my body armor, but I miss my helmet. So I need to buy a helmet. How does my resistance look like, right? So you can see, okay, maybe I like on cold resistance. So I need a helmet with at least cold resistance. So there where I was like step by step by step. And going into the resistance and the energy shield and how much energy shield do I get in total when I have everything done, right? And that made me okay. In the end, it was around 10k. And I was like, okay, that's a good amount. We can switch now. So I switched with level 89. Then you got almost like everything what you need in terms of defense with maximum energy shield. So as I play hardcore, I skilled in that first, and now I upgrade a bit like here and there, this is my at the moment skill tree, in some more damage nodes, just to upgrade the damage. Overall, it's also, as you freeze, a really good defense layer to freeze everything. But it's also really nice, and for me, like, I really like it to just let everything freeze, explode, and just as a machine gun just running through it. Yeah, but I put everything link in it, so you get my PoB link. I will put my Mobalytics link, where you have a complete guide in terms of how do I level, what is important when I use which equipment when I'm leveling, until I use ice shot, what is important ice shot, how is the rotation going on, what do I need to look out for, what is the quest rewards I need to. So I put everything in there. But if you have questions, just drop a question in the video down below. You can also grab me always on Reddit and send me a DM, ask me, or just come on into my Twitch when I'm online and ask a question, and I'm happy to help. Hope you like it, and see you soon. Nice. Fancy thing. Bye.